It's a 3, 2, 1. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Everybody, grab your bubbly, grab a seat, grab a
Cheers.
snack. It's going.
Dinner.
Grab your dinner.
Live on YouTube.
Grab it. Bring it. We're popping everything out. The chat, the meeting. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Let me grab my other phone. I'll share it.
Oh yeah. What's up, Nathan? Yo. Hopefully we're going to have a lot of people watching tonight, a lot of people interacting with us. I know it's the holiday, not weekend, but holiday hump day, midweek. So a lot of people probably are going to be hanging out and joining us tonight and talking the best info on the Ford Super Duty Powerstroke here on the internet. We have a lot of great info, a lot of great content on the channel to help you guys make responsible decisions in maintenance and adding goodies to your truck, lights and air filters and so on. So I invite you all to stay tuned, hang out with us. I have Ford Boss Me, CP's Garage, and a special guest all the way from Maine. We're going to talk a little bit with him tonight about how he's here, what happened this week. That's pretty cool. Everybody in the comment section, Greg, Ryan, Luis, John M., what up? Vince Baby Zeekster, Wayne, what up? Brian, EP, everybody, thanks so much. Yeah. Recap, I had some really good shorts this week, particularly actually last week as well too. A lot of guys have been commenting on the Centromatic, I think is the correct terminology, wheel weights that actually, I know it wasn't a 2015. Everybody's been putting in the comment section, it's not a 2015. I don't even know why I said 2015. I didn't even rewatch it. I must have just misspoke. But it was a 2017 dually. One of my followers, now customers, was having an alignment issue with his truck. And I was like, what? All I did was put 2 tires on this thing. Everybody's been putting in the comments. And I didn't realize what he had, the contraption. It was a ring filled with some sand BB pellets type stuff. Pretty different. Kind of caught me off guard. I, was hearing like maracas or something as I was pulling out of the shop. I'm like, what the heck? And I stopped, and then it stopped, and I started going again. It was really, really weird. But a lot of guys, I guess, are running those. Judging by the comment section, a lot of people commenting on big rigs and school buses, and also on their Super Duties. A lot of guys saying that they don't have any need for them. So that was definitely a big commenting one. I love the shirt, man. It fits good, and the stickers are on my truck. Yeah, let me see some pictures. Where'd you put it? I've been putting mine on the left-hand window. In the back, I don't know.
It looks good on my truck.
Yeah, I put it in the same spot where I put mine.
The color blend's really nice.
Yeah, your truck was, I like that sparkle. Nice shirt, Cody. I have the same one. Good evening, Genesis popping in and saying happy Thanksgiving. Hello, happy Thanksgiving to you. Yeah, my 6.7's running like a champ. Bouncing cars. I bought some Power XD. Yep. Not sure about that. Yeah. What was the other one here? A lot of
Ford never used a CP3.
No.
There's not really many issues with the CP4 except for fuel quality. I mean, if you think about it,
so
everything comes down to fuel quality. I mean,
if the place looks really sus, I won't even stop there. No matter if I have a gallon of additive on board, I will take my chances and go elsewhere. That's the one thing I think in my truck is like spotless, including the motor. It is water free.
Let's see, what was I gonna see over here? The other short that I had, like, when I have a bunch of you guys
No matter if I have
going ham in the comments. Oh, DS is about to come up. Where is it? Very popular one. I think you guys like this. The hood latch. How many of you guys out there right now have had to replace that hood latch for your bloody alarm going off? I've had so many people contact me saying, hey, I don't know why my alarm's going off. Do you know why? And by golly, I have replaced multiple hood latches. Look at DS. Look at this guy.
DS trucks.
What up? What up? Long time no see.
Hey, are you out there freezing or what?
No, I'm not. Pretty warm.
He didn't come through?
No, he came through, but I'm not that. I don't feel that great about the install.
Is it
But
on?
It is on.
Okay,
But
okay.
I'm gonna have to touch it up a little bit. You know, it is what it is. But it's working good. I'll show you after the live stream. I'll show you how it turned out.
Heck yeah. Mr. Tony, man. This guy came and saw me Monday, this week here, Thanksgiving week. Monday shows up about 8:30 and came from Maine, had to do a couple of stops before he got here, but was able to come through and took care of some much needed maintenance, and basically gave his truck a good checkout, a good once over. Was able to use the infamous Motorcraft shampoo and degreaser on his engine, cleaned a bunch of oil residue off, a couple things that some other people had missed that he didn't even know about.
It's very true.
It sucks that this part's now back ordered. I'm assuming that's the same thing you said you were finding out there?
Yeah, so I went to my local Ford dealership. I showed him what I needed, my parts guy, and he said, it sure enough is back ordered. So I did order one. But like I had mentioned before, whatever you did, just, again, in comparison to the fact that, I have this mechanic that I've been very loyal to, but has not been super loyal to me, missed this. And it's just such a simple thing. He put a belt on, didn't put that back together correctly, didn't spot what he admitted later. He's like, oh yeah, I know what happened. The oil leak, it was the vacuum pump seal, right? I'm like, so if you knew what it was, how did you not find it? But anyway, that's getting off topic. Yes, so it is back ordered. I was thinking of, maybe going around and checking some salvage yards or something just to get something temporarily, but I did order one. But whatever you did, just because you used finesse and you took your time, and it took a couple of minutes to actually take your time and do it right the first time, it believe it or not, the truck is now completely different. It feels like it's been neutered for the last 60,000 miles because of this one little piece. I mean, it really became a night and day difference. It would sometimes shudder when I was revving it up when it was cold. It would always roll a lot more cold than it should. So I think that this whole air mixture and too much air to the mass airflow sensor, like we were talking about, it was just a matter of somebody putting it on correctly, which is just, it blew my mind, the performance on the way home versus on the way there. It was just completely night and day. So in addition to the vacuum pump seal, you definitely did me right. I mean, I can't thank you enough for that. That's just blew my mind.
I think it's worth mentioning to everyone, having check your air intake.
Yes.
From, if you have an 11 through 16, your air intake from your air filter housing lid to the lower intake, the oval. Check your oval. If somebody's taken that off and has not manipulated the boot around the lower intake manifold, that was actually folded in on Tony's truck and was kind of letting an unmetered air leak happen.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't causing a check engine light, but something obviously
which is surprising.
Noticed.
Yeah, which is surprising given the again, if you had gotten to actually get it out on the road first, like both times before and after, you would have been like, wow, this is literally, that's a poor use of that word, but anyway.
How far did you drive?
I drove from Maine to Georgia to Michigan, and then from Michigan, of course, back home to Maine. I drove through the night to get back home through the snowstorm in Buffalo. And yeah, so that was actually interesting. The 15 or 20 minutes we stopped to take a nap while Dylan slept the whole time. But, I woke up and there was 2 or 3 inches of snow on the road. There was no plow in sight. And I was like, where's my plow when I need it? And, the funny thing is, again, other than that ABS thing happening and lighting up my dash, which, as you mentioned, it just turned out to be the sensor getting caked up. It was just an interesting ride home. But I made it.
It sounds like a lot of unfiltered air. If the whole thing was folded.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, so what had actually happened was he was working on the vacuum pump and, replacing that gasket. And we stepped outside. I stepped outside for a cigarette, and he comes outside holding that whole piece in his hand. I'm like, oh no.
Straight, just.
Yeah, he just walks out. Man. He walks out the door, and he presents me with this piece of plastic, and I'm like,
yeah, I guess it's never good if the tech's bringing you the part. Like,
no,
I think we got.
I'm like, what is this?
Well, if it's any consolation, the snow should help. If you ever notice, there's no air filter on a snowblower. They say there's not a whole lot of dust and all that stuff in the air when it's snowing.
Yeah, and I think that he got it in there to the point where whatever A-Rod did to finagle it, again, it has a million times more power than it did. It's been like that, like I was saying, for like 60,000 miles. The truck now has 124K on the clock. I sent him my most recent oil report from Blackstone. It's barely got any chromium in the oil now. The trends are good. They give me good content. They have those really cute and very informative comments that they leave. So, it's just so sad that what is otherwise a perfect truck, both body, rust for being in Maine, you saw it, A-Rod, the thing has barely a speck of rust on it, and a perfect oil history, and just an otherwise perfect truck just being totally, neutered by some careless jerk who didn't catch,
So wait, when you were doing these oil analysis, so you're saying you had some oil analysis with the air filter messed up or the air intake messed up?
And they're perfect. Yeah, they're perfect.
They're all perfect. Okay.
They're all perfect. So that's why I was glad, nothing really bad got in there. I mean, it was probably just so
minimal. But...
Yeah. I think it's more the bigger problem was more air. It was getting more air than it knew what to do with at the mass airflow sensor. So I think that was ultimately that was the main symptom. And I said this to them a million times, I think I may have a boost leak, and they treat me like the boy who cried wolf. Everything I always say, it winds up happening anyway. But they put me through this whole ringer of, and I'm speaking with my Italian hands here, but point being, they just put me through this BS where it's like, you know, oh, it's just Tony. He doesn't. And it's like, I've never given you any indication. I've always been right. So it just took, like I said, it took A-Rod like 30, 40 seconds. We did the service. He's going through it. And then, you know, he sees the oil leak. He sees the issue with the little plastic thing. It's just about taking your time, man. I mean, just doing, I don't know. It blows my mind how incompetent some people are.
Yeah, man, that's insane.
You know, I mean, I love that truck. I've taken extremely good care of it. You know, I've made sure everything with the bodywork. I even replaced a bedside and a fender recently just because, you know, there was a little rust on them. I want everything to be solid. So, yeah, it's my baby. You know, I want that thing to be, even if I get a new truck like an Illumiduty, I was thinking, you know, I've always commented on your truck. If you recall, I may have tried to trade you a case of water once for a truck.
What?
On your Instagram comments once you posted
On me?
water.
On
yeah,
on
and I
mine?
was like, yeah, and I was
Oh,
like,
you know what? I'm trying to
you
think
remember
now.
that? And I was like, yo, you can, I'll give you another case of water for that awesome Illumiduty.
What did I say?
You were like, yeah, let's do that on the 32nd of.
Oh yeah, I remember now. I remember now.
Yeah, that was fun.
Man, I'm sorry that happened though with the air filter. That kind of stuff was just in the back of your head.
It's
Like,
all
you
good.
know.
You know, and I appreciate that. And I think the bottom line is I had always intended to come see A-Rod. I had to put it off to get that bedside put on before winter. And we rescheduled it for the 29th of November. But I was going on this trip to Georgia. I was like, dude, do you have any time on the 22nd? He was like, absolutely, no problem. I think I can fit that in. Got there first thing, had the truck nice and clean. And
It sounds like you're driving. Sounds like you're driving all over the place.
I really don't do that. I mean, I do a lot of driving, but because everything in Maine is few and far between. But you know, I don't do a lot of road trips, so to speak. Not anymore, anyway. So it needed to be done, and we wanted to stay longer. But with the Turkey Day coming, I had originally planned to leave Tuesday, but you know,
Hey, I give it to you, man. Driving, booking it through the night. That's
just to get up there. Yeah, coming up 75, it was a nice straight shot. So I stopped for a couple minutes to sleep on that trip. Then we went to the hotel, begged them to check us in, dropped the bags, cleaned the truck, came to you, saw your awesome facility. I mean, anybody watching that, you know, was possibly considering going there, it's worth the trip.
Well, you didn't go to the meetup.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of any meetup, honestly.
Oh man, that's our
It's the
fault.
first time you're telling me now. I mean, I probably wouldn't have been there anyway because, you know, we had a plan for this. Yeah. So, I mean, next time I'm definitely going to stay longer and, you know, we're going to get some stuff going. But it was just a quick turn trip. Got to spend some time. Got the truck taken care of. Like I said, I'm baffled by just the fact of doing that one simple thing, really. And I'm surprised. I mean, if it's still got a little bit of a leak, you know, what's it gonna do when it's actually got a brand new one on there? Is it gonna be even better? Probably, maybe.
I mean, I'm sure it's still leaking just a smidge.
Yeah, so you know, that would be. I'm all about it.
There's a guy in the comments section who's actually asking for the part number because he wants to see if he has it. I have found it right now. Okay, let me put this.
Like he's gonna sell me one.
He's listening, so
you should be able to find it used if worst case scenario.
Well, that's what I was saying. I was asking A-Rod. I was like, it's safe as long as it's clean, right? Like just to take one off a salve. I know that there's at least a few. It's funny, you don't see that many.
Have you looked on eBay?
I haven't gotten a chance, man. I just
check eBay for a wreck.
Check eBay for a wreck. For sure. When he posts the part number, I'm going to do that because I don't even have the part number. That's the best way to do it. I've found if you start using like, you know, this and that and just putting in your name. I'm sorry, oh, there you go. If you start just putting in stuff for the year of your truck, you know, you might wind up.
Well, it's probably a weird part, but if you find one that's just the whole truck's wrecked, but then again, it's off the engine. So
yeah.
They
Of
might want to keep
course.
the engine all in one piece. So that.
And that's the thing. You don't see a lot of them. That's exactly right. When you see somebody getting a new, like they go to a salvage yard to get an engine, they're doing the whole engine swap. They don't want to. The 6.7s are pretty valuable that way. I don't see a lot of junked ones except for accidents up here. I mean, they last. Like my truck is a 2014. It was built in 13. It's almost 9 years old. I've had no major issues with it. The motor has been, as I mentioned, the oil analysis, I've been doing that for the past, I guess, every other oil change for the past little bit. And I changed my oil pretty early, which is, I don't care if people are like, oh, you're wasting money. I'm like, that's fine. To me, it's cheap insurance. Just like changing my fuel filters more often, then I should do it. I know I don't need to do it, but I just do it anyway because I love the truck and I want to take care of it. And I'll be buried in that truck.
That's a good point you bring out about you keeping the truck and whatnot. I'm excited for you guys to be able to check out my upcoming video that I'm working on. It's in production, and it is the owner of the another million mile 6.7. This one's an 11, and it was getting some work done in the shop. And I was able to make a video about it and talk why it was in here, but I was also able to reach out to the owner, the customer, and he was totally down with documenting his story, what he did to the vehicle, what he had issues with, what he improved. And I think you guys are going to be excited to hear from him how he put all these miles on it, what he did to it.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was actually going to say I'm actually very excited for that because ironically, that's the first video of yours that I saw. Maybe not the first, but the first that I really got subscribed and really started to religiously watch your content was that million mile. I believe his was the 13, maybe the gentleman from New Mexico.
Yep.
If you're here, shout out, bud, because that truck is beautiful and good job maintaining it. I mean, that's my goal right there. Like more than that, whatever I've got to do to get, past that.
Got a long way.
Oh, the way, dude, I've had, you don't know what you'd laugh if you know how many miles I put on that truck in the past 12 months. It sat a lot. And then not sat a lot, but it didn't drive as much. And then recently I've been using it almost exclusively because I just love driving.
What's the lifespan on a 6.7 if you're towing all the time before you should start having issues? That's kind of a weird question. I don't know. I don't know. Ford Boss Me, how do you even
Somebody asked me a question like that today. That's not a predictable thing. It all depends on how hard you're towing, how you're maxing it out. You just got to take care of your vehicle.
Exactly. Changing your fluids. I don't think towing even matters. It may matter to the turbo. You guys are better, of course, equipped to answer this question. But just from a novice's point of view, just taking care of the thing and not beating up on it, I think that towing would be irrelevant.
Well, that's a good point. It's like, at what point do you consider the engine? I mean, because if you're talking about rods and stuff like that, then a pretty long time. But if you're just talking about a turbo, we know from the million mile videos that A-Rod's done that a turbo here and there every 250,000.
300,000.
You're gonna get a turbo.
That's why I was thinking of doing the 2015 upgrade kit if it's even still available for the Ford, because mine is a 14 model year. They updated the turbo, but it's still prone to grenading from what I've been told by other Ford people. So I asked A-Rod, I may still be interested in doing that if we could work something up for that to put the 15 turbo kit in.
Ford Performance has a kit for that.
I think it's $3,000 is the retail on it. For
Brandon,
Now,
just the turbo.
what happens if your turbo grenades? Does it take anything else out with it? Does it send metal through the
Yeah,
oil? Or
oh
anything?
yeah, oh yeah. It could easily take out. I think I mean, obviously, A-Rod could probably answer this better but from what I heard, yes, it's not.
Sleepy.
It's grizzly.
Yeah, so
I've personally seen more turbos just dump oil into the exhaust system
Yeah, me
than anything.
too.
That's
Me too.
Which
This-
is worse.
And
Well-
smoking bad after. I mean, bad. I mean, I'm like, I started getting nervous. Like, did I screw something up? I got people behind me. Like, I don't even know what to say. I'm try to take these back industrial drives so I'm not fogging traffic out. But good Lord.
It's on a test drive.
Yeah, or when you get done doing a turbo or when you do get
Gotcha,
oil into
gotcha.
the exhaust, I mean,
Right,
there's
'cause it
no
came in that
way
way,
to,
right?
there's
Yeah.
no way to get it out. I mean, you
You
can
gotta
do a
burn it
regen,
out. Yeah.
but doing a regen is technically not good when it's full of oil because you're going to superheat that cat. And what's going to happen, CP? What's going to happen,
Crack
Ford
it.
Boss Me? You're gonna crack that boy. Then you're going to be even more up.
I'm a crack
SHIST.
boy.
But it comes back
supposed-
though, just like Brandon Powerstroke was saying, towing works more components harder. That's correct, but it doesn't mean when you're towing 15,000 pounds that you're driving balls to the wall. Like you're gonna have to adjust how you drive per the weight that you got on. You got 3,000 pounds. Okay, fine.
And just take care of the truck. Change the oil. Change your
Right.
change your fluids. Right. I mean, just like you say in your videos. That's I got because you constantly drill it into my head.
This guy says, "What are you towing? A mobile home or a 6-foot Harbor Freight flatbed?"
Right.
I don't know.
And that's what I'm saying. You drill it into people's heads. If we watch your videos religiously too, you can remember. Go check your oil. Go check your coolant. Go check everything. Just check it, change it, fill it up.
So this guy comes back who asked that question. He says, the reason I asked this because I bought an F-350 that only had 60,000 miles on it, but never was worked hard like that. And once I did work it, I started having issues because it wasn't broken in hard.
Well,
I don't know
one
about
issue,
that, man.
one issue there is you never really know the history. I mean, unless you know the guy.
Right. Even with service records, you can't actually ascertain, like, okay. And plus, a Carfax or anything like that is only as good as if it was properly reported. People don't seem to realize that. They're like, well, I checked the Carfax. I'm like, well, they could have just not reported the damage, or the accident,
And I can tell you this, sometimes, even though a vehicle's only got 60,000 miles, you really don't know what kind of
It could have been hard-ass miles.
60,000 miles.
Yeah.
You guys, I made a video. It was an 18 dually platinum 64K original oil filter. That engine said, I'm done. 64,000 miles.
Just put its arms
never
out
changes
and it died in your arms.
Just like he ceased to exist.
Well, look at the one that I did. Look at the one that I did. It 27,000 miles, and it had an STP filter on it. Nobody cared about it. It had excessive idle time, and the motor was shot. The turbo was shot. The exhaust was shot. The whole entire. It would have been thousands upon thousands that they auctioned it off. It wasn't worth keeping.
Wow.
I just had a truck yesterday. No, at the beginning of this week. It is a 19 250 or 350, one of the two. Had that many engines installed in it, 30,000 miles, and 8,700 idle hours. With that many oil changes between the last two engines.
So with idle hours, it's like you have to basically account for those with your oil life too, right? I mean,
Most definitely.
25.
So that's where
my truck has some pretty excessive idle numbers, honestly.
So
it does idle a lot.
With your idle numbers,
But I high idle it. Sorry. There was a delay. Sorry.
Do you run off your oil life monitor? Because with mine, I do quite a bit of idling, not a ton, but my oil life monitor seems to go down with idling.
I'm not at liberty to discuss why I don't have that feature, but the one thing I do, of course, have, like everybody else has, is my engine hours, my idle hours, all the stats. But as far as oil life, I do not have, for a bad reason, I'm sorry, I do not have a meter.
You don't have an oil life monitor.
And I don't know if that was even in the 11 through 16s. Was it in the 11 through 16s? Could you actually see the percentage? I don't think so. But I also don't have, if you recall, the reset fuel filters life either. Just reset oil life for a reason I'm not at liberty to discuss.
If you think about one of the things that A-Rod pointed out with let's just say lack of maintenance or poor maintenance or extended OCIs or something like that, and the seal or something does go on a turbo, and that oil is just dumping through the exhaust system. And like he pointed out, which is spot on, it's, you know how many regens you'd have to go through over and over and over and over again to get all that oil and stuff out of there. And by the third or fourth or fifth regen back to back to back without letting a lot of resting, if there's a certain technician that doesn't have experience or an owner that doesn't have the experience that chooses to do the work themselves, it will literally cook the inside of that system and it will implode on itself. And that all that catalyst and stuff that's inside that system, that's a $5,000 system minimum. And good luck getting a new system. So when the turbo goes, chances are, if it's bad enough, the exhaust system is going as well. A lot of times I've had to replace turbos and I'm putting exhaust systems on $4,500, $6,000, depending on demand. If it's not back ordered, it's a terrible thing. So that's why we're always preaching on our channels. Maintenance is key. I don't care if you don't want to spend the money, don't buy the truck then.
Exactly. That's what people don't see. They're like, why do you spend so much money on early oil changes and early fuel? I'm like, dude, because it's worth it to me. It's cheap insurance that my vehicle is going to run longer than yours. And it's, the oil tests, they speak for themselves.
Yeah. The thing with me in the oil analysis, it's always like, oh, you can go longer. And I'm like, well, I'll just follow the.
Yeah, well, they're like, if you want, you can always go longer. I'm like, yeah, I don't. And then they stop mentioning it. I'm like, I don't do that. I'm like, I always change it at this interval.
Are you using Blackstone?
I do use Blackstone. Yep, I'm pretty close with a couple guys that work there as a result of my continued patronage.
I need to get a kit from them.
They're the best one.
They'll send them. Yeah, they'll send you a bunch of kits in.
They don't even charge you.
No, they'll just charge you for the test. You should have told me. I had a couple in my truck.
So are you doing diesel particulate? Are you just doing a basic test, or are you adding any extra features with the Blackstone?
I do not add any extra features. I just do a basic analysis, but that's really because, again, there's really hasn't been anything wrong with the motor itself. I knock on my wood desk here. I have wired my video go. Knock on wood, I've never had any problems with the engine other than this new oil leak, which we have resolved with that vacuum pump. I'm not sure if you were here for that part, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got the gist of it just from you guys talking about it.
Yeah. He found it in like 30 seconds. And I did a pre-trip inspection, and obviously we saw this thing was leaking a lot. I brought it to my mechanic locally here, who I'm pretty much, I think, finished with.
So you're saying
check it out, and he checked it out and didn't find it, and apparently knew it was a common problem because that's what he said after the fact when I asked him why he didn't find it. So he shot himself in the foot there. And
Trey says that he has a duct. He has one. Customer wanted a cold air intake. He'll take pictures of it in the AM and put it in the email. I've had it for a few years. I'll just give it to you. You got to take care of shipping.
Ooh.
So maybe we can power the internet you a duct. Maybe used, but I can't imagine that he's.
I will send you a label, whoever we're talking about. As far as shipping, that is no problem.
I'll forward you infos, and maybe we can get that happening.
So
Sure.
Tony, you talked a lot about engine maintenance. What about like your diffs and your transfer case? Like, is your mechanic?
The diffs, I don't obsess too much about my diffs. I do them pretty much, I'd want to say, every 30 or 40,000 miles, probably something like that. I run whatever I think the rear is full synthetic, if I'm not mistaken, or vice versa. One of the two. I don't actually personally do those because I'm not good at resealing them. Most likely, moving forward, they'll be done by, where is he? The guy over there. Yeah. So
yeah, that's a good. The diffs and then the transfer case is.
The transfer case is pretty. I do that like every season, like every winter season, pretty much.
So how does it look when you do it every winter?
It looks pretty good. I don't really use it I do it a little more often than that, but I always change it. What I meant to say is I always change it in the winter no matter what, just because I'm going to be using it a lot more. I'd say throughout the year I change it twice. It's not
oh yeah, wow,
nothing crazy, because I don't have to use it that much, but I do use it to keep it well looped. You don't
keep it moving.
You don't
get it up to temperature and all that.
Right, the whole you don't use it, you lose it kind of deal. So
you
that's
can't,
so yeah,
though,
I mean,
these guys who drive these older gentlemen, it's kind of hard for me to convey to them. You gotta drive this mother. Can't. Don't use it. You're gonna lose it. Stuff's gonna get rusted up. You're right. You gotta put that down. Put the hammer down.
We talked about
You're gonna blow them carbons out. Blow them carbons out. Let that turbo spread its wings.
We get people that come in all the time, and it's some old man that owns a Powerstroke, and he's like, "Why is my DPF minder or something? Why is this on? Why is that on?" Because you don't drive it. You drive from your house to the grocery store, and then you shut it off, and then you go to your cousin's house or whatever. You go to your poker night, and you come back home, and it never gets driven. You got to drive it.
Well, you know what? With the diesels, that's a factor, because I will say, my regions and everything are way lower when I'm towing the dump trailer loaded. It's getting heavier and heavier. All of a sudden, I'm actually getting into passive regions where it's not getting up to 100 as quick, and then out of nowhere it's down to 0. I'm like, oh, now that I'm towing on a hot day, it's actually making a difference on the diesel exhaust system. I don't know if you got.
That's true. That's true. That's my truck.
Have you noticed that? Have you noticed the same thing?
Hell yeah, that's tight.
Dude, that's nice.
Little blue jeans action. Listen, why can't I figure out which way to move? There we go.
Oh yeah. So how do you like those tires? So
I'm sorry?
Are you running the KO2s?
I think did you ask me about the rims or tires? It was garbled. You were like,
oh, the tires. Are you running KO2s?
I am running KO2s. Good.
How do you like those?
I have a love-hate relationship with them. I've loved them for many years on all of my trucks. I also have a 2003 Triton V10 F250 that is needing some work, but is getting there. It'll be work. But anyway, point being, I run them on everything, but lately they've been at the 20-inch size, which is what those Ford rims there are. They seem to have a bit of a balance issue. So it's between the rims being old and having hit stuff, and I've replaced one or two of them. If you go to BF Goodrich's website or check the reviews for the actual 20-inch size, most of the 20-inch sizes, people are constantly complaining about them going out of balance, and I'm not immune to that. This is the third set I've gotten from Discount Tire Direct. They just keep sending me new sets because they're pretty decent like that, I guess. But yeah, I love them. They work great in the snow. I keep getting this balance issue.
Give it the old Italian tune-up and get the tire fire rolling.
I just bought a set of Wrangler Duratrax.
I've heard good things about those.
Yeah, me too, especially on the trimmer trucks.
Okay, I was gonna say, did you put it on your dually, or what did you put them on?
Oh, I put them on my 250, but there was a fiasco where I said, give me 35s off of a trimmer, and the guy gave me 33s.
Oh,
Did I
geez.
see
Here we're
that?
talking about the tire debacle.
So wait
I'm
a
like,
second. Before we go down that rabbit hole, did you also buy recently, if I'm not mistaken, a diesel F-150 too?
no, I got a Power Boost 150.
I got the
Is that
power
a
boost.
diesel?
What was that?
I said, isn't that a diesel?
That's a hybrid. It's
Yeah.
3.5 EcoBoost and electric assist.
Oh, didn't they make a? Isn't there a diesel one too, though?
It's a
Yeah.
3-liter
power.
diesel.
That's
They
a Power
stopped
Stroke, but I
making it.
think
Yeah,
they
okay.
discontinued.
So it is called the Powerstroke. Okay, that's what I was confused about. All right.
Very-
That's discontinued this
I
year.
know they stopped it, which I guess
Yes.
makes sense, but I don't know. I heard
I
people had them love them.
I got a question for you guys. I have a vaulted F-150 3-liter Power Stroke video. Do you guys want to see it? I haven't wanted to put it out. I've been kind of, I forgot about it.
Put
It's
it
been
out.
tucked
Put
away.
it
Do you
out.
think I should put it out?
Put
You
it
guys
out.
want to see it?
Put it out.
Put it
What
out.
did you
Put it out.
F-150 diesel was like.
There's not a lot of F-150 diesel stuff out there. I think we should just
Ow,
hammer
Put
it out
it
there.
out, get it out of the way. And just
What did you
move
do
on.
to it?
Recall.
EGR cooler.
Was it broken?
No, it wasn't.
EGR
I never found
cooler.
one. Yeah,
That's about all they're in for is EGR coolers
yeah.
and
Yeah.
engines after the EGR cooler eats. After the engine eats the washer or bolt out of the EGR cooler.
Oh, good lord!
Yeah.
That sounds like a freaking party, man.
Num num num.
They were coming from the factory that way before they even made it from the dealership. Before we even had it at our lot, we had notification from Ford that we had to have several recalls done before we even received the trucks on the lot.
Yikes!
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of those.
I think they could have done better using the 4.4 line instead of the 3-liter. The 4.4
Yeah.
would have been a V8 turbo.
One of the things that I constantly used on the 3-liter were my Milwaukees. I found using my quarter drives were made the job a lot easier. And just this week, was it this week? No, it was the end of last week. One of my followers, one of you guys out there, thank you so much. He was Don, I hope you're listening, was able to send me a brand new quarter drive Milwaukee long neck Ratchet with a new battery 2.0, and I am finding it. I can't believe I have not had a long neck Ratchet. It is really nice. I was actually had the opportunity to put catalytic converters on a 17 MKZ, and I am literally very glad that I had this particular tool. Whoa, Pluto! Was able to get to a lot of the fasteners where I just wouldn't be able to get with my regular
That
one.
tool
So
that you have, that one that like does the floppy, the angle, that thing is like solid gold.
yeah,
The one you were using in that, what were we commenting on? Was it the upper oil pan video, I think, this morning? Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the electric tools, thinking a Diesel Tech Ron, DTR, RIP buddy.
I missed Diesel Tech Ron, man. He was a
the reason
straight up dope guy.
why I have Milwaukee tools. I saw him do an Econoline ambulance. I was just talking with my coworker today about this. He was doing an Econoline E Series 6-liter, and I saw him doing the passenger side bank valve cover bolts or whatever, the oil manifold, whatever, and was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't have this. I need to get, not having that airline grappling you, always tethered to you. I love the Milwaukee stuff. Definitely a recommendation for anybody needing to work on their Power Stroke.
He was definitely the reason I went to the Milwaukees.
Yes.
Ford boss.
Yes, sir.
I miss you, man.
What's that?
I miss you, man.
I know, man. I miss you too. That
Yeah.
meetup we had,
It was
we got
nice
to get
meeting
one
you.
down
It was nice.
down at your shop after having
How
that
are-
one.
How are those ball joints? You get those in yet from Rock Auto?
No, what came in today? Oh, the AirTech fuel sending unit came in, and then the Aeromotive racing 390 gallon per hour fuel pump came in, and now
Dang.
I'm getting ready to start upfitting the 462 valve for boost and supercharger.
What?
So
Procharger dropping.
you gonna be doing it, or are you gonna have them do it, or
No, I'm going to do everything. I'm just going to take it to somebody to have them tune it once everything. And then it said the
okay?
lower control arm was en route. And then I also have, there was some more performance stuff. Like everybody thought I was joking when I said that I'm actually going to pro charge this 462 valve and show them what it can do. And then until they started seeing me do everything, and then they were like, okay, this guy's not joking. He's actually serious. I'm like, well, you're going to see.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool, man.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a disaster prevention kit for the Ford Transit Powerstroke? No,
Wait,
that's not.
isn't that like
That's
an
actually a funny question.
isn't that
No,
an
I didn't mean to
SPE
laugh
term?
at you. Just a question.
Isn't that an SPE term that they use for their kits?
No, that's just funny that somebody would ask that for a Transit Powerstroke.
That's a good question. I don't know
Look
if
at that little
SPE was the first
baby.
one.
Look at him.
Well,
Look at him.
I heard they're kind of trash. Also,
The
possibly
United States variants, are trash in the transit, but they're
Okay.
pretty awesome.
No,
in the
I'm
race.
talking about SPE. Somebody said
Oh,
something. And there,
SPE's trash.
yeah. I
They
thought
cause
that-
pressure problems.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard.
I didn't like that part. I didn't like how that little screen is there when you want the little screen versus the
I'd rather have the filter.
the
You know,
filter.
I don't want to talk bad or slander somebody. I wouldn't, want somebody to do that to me. But I constantly am hearing about that particular company and their product. I have reached out to them multiple times. I gave up on them. I would like them to clear the air. Tell us what the deal is with this going on. I got a lot of guys out here that are spending good, hard-earned money.
And they're not getting their stuff right.
Getting their stuff right, missing pieces,
Oh.
not following up with customer service.
Yeah, I hear their customer service is garbage.
Hey, Amy, Dan, Chance, I see you guys. I see you. What's the deal? Let's talk about your stuff. I have an open invite for you guys. Let these guys know you want to sell your stuff. I suggest that you answer some of these guys' questions. A lot of people are upset.
Tony,
Prevent
I
the
will say,
disaster.
Tony, I will say this: you seem super squared away on your maintenance. Like I'm not even nowhere near that squared away. I haven't changed my transfer case oil, and I'm
Look at that
plowing.
front end. Look at that front end, how it's sitting. Looking all
That's,
nice and
it's on
level.
it's on an angle. Yeah, the truck that parking lot is on an angle. It's mostly level with those springs that I had to Frankenstein, if you remember.
Have you greased your front half shafts?
What's that?
Did you grease your half shafts?
I'm not sure what you're asking me. My
Did you
half
grease
what?
did you grease
Your
your
4x4. Yeah, I did when he was doing his
did it.
oil change.
You did it.
Oh,
You did. Yeah.
oh, okay.
No problem.
Yeah. he
That's
did
one
it.
of the most overlooked things I've seen.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, these guys, that's the worst part. These guys would literally just start brushing off stuff that they would do every time that I brought my truck in, which I would assume that based on, his level of professionalism, that PTT actually does it every time. He did it to my truck without even asking me about it. All that simple stuff, it started to kind of piss me off because I was like, did you guys grease those? Like, oh, yeah, we did it. Yep. And then, I'm pretty sure they took a fair amount of grease when you put them in there. So
What is that a Boss plow mount?
yeah, good eye. Yep. I'm a boss guy.
Are
What
you
do you got?
freaking
A
kidding me right
V-plow
now? This
or
guy's
what are
sitting
you
here on a
running?
picture that's superimposed in the back, and he see this little corner of metal sticking off behind the bumper.
Right. Well, I have
You
changed.
sleepy all day? You gonna wake up and say this right now?
I have changed it a couple times.
Okay.
He might have caught it in this picture. That's
Okay.
pretty obvious.
Oh,
this
That's
one
a
also-
boss.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't plow with it really. I plow one place with it. I put the plow on. I do a favor for one of my clients who's a local coffee shop that has a couple buildings downtown, a roastery and a coffee shop. And there's this alley that nobody wants to plow. I don't know why. They're just shook to go down this narrow alley. I don't know. They can't drive in reverse, I guess. Anyway, that's the one place I plow, and I just have it on there to plow my driveway or, as backup for a friend of mine who does plowing. I'm very good at plowing. I just don't like to work the truck
Right. Yeah.
by doing plowing. I mean, I know you do a lot of
I
plowing.
got you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just weird with the transmission. This particular transmission, it's a little finicky. It was a little finicky before anyway, and I think I've pretty much solved the issues with it. I did my own service on it. That seemed to help and did that correctly. Changed the filter again. The mechanic, that was another thing. I totally forgot to mention that part. I always go with Ford OEM or Motorcraft or whatever.
Oh man, yeah.
Filters, parts.
Trans, right?
For the most part, yeah. So he didn't when I pulled the filter myself, I guess he thought I'd never be smart enough to go in there, which I did it and did it perfectly, except for a screw that was a little messed up, but that's been resolved by me. And yeah, it was not what I asked for. It was a no-name brand. There wasn't even a name on it. On the Ford one, you got the sticker with all the stuff, obviously. So I put the right filter in, the OEM one, put the correct amount of fluid, which I don't think they did either, which I think is why my transmission was acting up in the first place.
Yeah,
and
probably.
now it runs fine. I mean, I would start it and it wouldn't even move. Like I put it into drive and it wouldn't even engage.
Where did you find these guys?
Well, listen, I'm not going to talk particularly.
Well, no, I'm not saying where, but
I'm gonna explain. I'll tell you. So they've always done right by me up until recently. Like I said, I don't know what changed. That they're getting too busy, or they just think that I don't do enough with my truck, which they have no idea. The thing tows pretty heavy tractors. It does all kinds of fun stuff. I don't do it as often as most people because it's not my main business. I do web development, graphics, apps, all kinds of stuff, drones, photography, video. But I do some towing for people and tow their equipment around when they need me to. So they just make these assumptions, it seems. And like I said, they just kind of started putting me off and just half-assing my truck. So they always did fine by me. But yeah, I found them through a friend of mine who wound up in his mind, they screwed him over by not helping him out quick enough with kind of an emergency. So he stopped going there. But then he went to a mechanic that I found out was even worse and is like a lazy bastard, is even worse than them. So it's hard to find a good mechanic, which is why when I went to Georgia, I stopped back. I went up a bit, came to Detroit, and got the stuff done correctly. And again, I can't endorse the man enough. The Powerstroke God, aka PTT.
Book your
PET.
appointment. Come on through. We got Maine, Texas.
Get out your checkbook.
Guy at work. Oh my gosh! I wish I was filming. I was cracking up. He's like, "Yeah, man, I didn't know, man." Da, 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 da. He's like, "Man, you gonna come from Hawaii?" Like, yeah, yeah. He took the ferry over. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm in Hawaii. I was.
No, there's no ferry.
I tell you what, me and A-Rod did maintenance on my 450. It was such a pleasure. I mean, we changed the oil.
January 1st.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, it was January.
It was nice to be back there, and we got to talk about the truck while we were doing stuff to the truck. Just watching it, it was like I compared it to.
It was a Powerstroke fellowship.
Yeah, and if anybody's ever seen A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, the dude who could like see all the math shit in his head. So like I was comparing it to like he's going through and he's like the way he's laying down the air gun on the
I don't know if I would go that far. So like The Beautiful Mind.
Well, what I'm saying is A Beautiful Mind of it's just the name of the movie. Don't get too into the name of the
you know
movie.
what's funny?
Hold on. What I'm talking about is the concept of the movie, which is that the guy can see everything mathematically in his head. All I was saying, forget about the title. All right, you're getting too hung up there. Forget about the title. It's just what he knows about the motor. And that kid, the fellow Austin that was there too, was like, yeah, he just knows where he knows where everything is, every bolt, every this, every that. And I'm like, yeah, it seems like he does. He's just going through it and just like da da da. I'm sure all of you guys who are Ford techs are very
it's interesting
similar.
because I used to work on cars back in the day, and then people would be like, "Oh, you're so gifted. You're so amazing." Oh, I'd be like,
"Okay, no, I wasn't going that far. I mean, maybe you guys are all gifted with trucks."
Ford Boss Man and Cody, I think we have like for anybody in the comments, you probably understand what I'm explaining. Like if you have something we're repetitively doing, let's say, what's something Ford Boss Me does a lot. Okay, we can see him doing these rear end booty jobs. 8/8s, Anthony's, Alex's, all these bolts and tools and sockets and all this, special combination of stuff he's gonna have, right? Like we get into like a mode, and like you legitimately, like if you had 6-7 apart, or if he was doing the rear axle, or not that there's that many parts there, but you could take everything off of 6-7 intake bolts, lower intake bolts, oil pit, just all these bolts, and throw them in a bucket. I'm gonna take all of them out and I'm gonna put them exactly where they need to go.
wow.
Like we've just done it so many times, or like we get into a habit. Like I'm trying to explain to Austin, the gentleman, the young fella who's working with me, when we're taking stuff apart, we need to find that flow. You got the bench where you're putting all your stuff, or whatever. You're starting off, you need to be organized. If I'm doing something, I'll just set it on the cowl and I have my own little mad scientist stuff that I'm doing. But when you're trying to see it and painting the picture of you putting it back together, spread out your good clean pig mats on the bench, and set a little cluster. This was the cluster of bolts you took off. This was the next one. This was the next one. This one, and work in a fashion that you're going to be able to go backwards in, and where this bolt. Oh, hey, that was the last part I took off. Oh, this one. Oh, this one's here. Oh, and then and you're eventually going to literally reverse the removal process and put everything back on. And it's so important to follow that flow when you're putting the stuff back together, because dude just brought you his $90,000 truck and there shouldn't be any parts left over. You shouldn't be needing to go to get more parts. You should have the same amount of bolts and nuts and fasteners and so forth when you're putting the stuff back together. It's something that we're just accustomed to. I mean, I can't explain it. Ford Boss Me knows what I'm talking about. CP knows. It's just we just do it.
I love my KFC to-go cups. Those things are awesome. Put them
Yeah,
on the
you were
side of the
telling me
cart.
about that. Yeah,
Just put the bolts in it, move it down. Put the next one down, put what's in it, move down.
Well, it's crazy because like when I was working on cars, I was really good at working on my car, but I wasn't that great at working on everyone else's because it was all different. And they'd be like, "Oh, can you do this? Can you do that?" Man, one time I did a 3800 Ford Boss Me, about these, I'm sure, the GM 3800s. And I freaking didn't want to, like, I was just tired. I'm in this person's backyard, freaking tools in my trunk. And I'm like doing the intake upper and lower gasket on this thing. And it's got a little plastic elbow on it. And that thing crumpled in my hand, and I tried to rebuild it out of RTV. I tried to put a bunch of RTV on it. It was just, what a disaster. Like, they were all staring at me working on this car, and I was just like, dang, I gotta redo it, I guess. Like, for whatever reason, I couldn't get my hands on a new plastic elbow. Why they put those in there, I don't know. But they did, and they crumple.
The other a big short, not big short, but it was a big question that I wanted to ask everybody. And man, laying on top of this 6.7, the 650, 750 got my tummy all scratchy, itchy. I was laying right across a degas bottle, right on a freaking hose clamp. I got a red mark here and a red mark here. Your CCV box, everybody has one on their 6.7, and a lot of guys are having an issue where the crankcase pressure is getting too high and is actually blowing the oil fill cap right off of the truck. And I have a great video showing the amount of pressure that's actually in the engine. I wasn't able to measure it, but showing you actually that cap almost blowing out of my hand. And what that is being caused is a restricted oil ventilation box that sits on top of the driver's side valve cover and pretty much filters liquid oil from going into the intake stream. But a lot of people, even myself, Ford Boss Me can attest, when we pull even the gasoline, the GTDIs, when we take off these charger cooler ducts, these tubes, all these pipings, there's a film oil. Sometimes oil pours out, not like I'm pouring my bubbly out, but you take it off and, drip, 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 drip. And we either have to, flush out that charger cooler, flush out those pipes. But a lot of that oil is coming from the CCV box. Now,
So wait, there's two designs of that too, right?
for
The CCV box, there's like an older design with some kind of filter media.
well, the
Then there's
11s, 12s, 13s, I think even to 16, did not have a serviceable filter. When Illumiduties came out, 17, 18, 19, they had a CCV box that now had 7 bolts on a lid. You could take that lid off and replace this filter. I distinctively remember seeing in the workshop manual, and I may even have it in the video when I had put that up a few years ago, it said it needs to be changed at 100,000 miles. Well, we know.
It was actually in the owner's manual.
Was that what it was?
In the first year of the 17s, because I was doing those recalls. I got really good at those.
That became an issue. The filter media.
Oh yeah, it was an issue before I even got to the dealership.
And then it went back to the baffle. So that's an interesting point if you have one of those trucks.
And if you get the updated box from Ford, you're getting a baffled one. You're not getting a filter one.
Filterless. Now the 2020, it's even a little more different. Mine, if you can see, if you have a 2020, you'll see right between the cowl and the box, there's a whole bunch of different style. It's almost like inverted Torx or tamper-proof Torx. It looks like little bolts around the top of the box. Your background of your truck, it almost looked like you were walking to your truck, like I was going to go open up the door.
Yeah.
And then you disappear. That's funny. It's completely different what we were used to before. The 17, 18, 19, the 20s, 21s, 22s even, they look completely different.
This is true.
Changed mind. Yep.
It blows my mind that people are still posting these posts that they don't know what the upper fuel filter is and that it's leaking diesel for some reason. It's crazy, man. Have you seen them on the Facebook thing? The 250 whatever group, the 250, 350 group?
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm going to tag you, but nah, I'm pretty sure you saw it.
I removed myself from a few of those groups. Just the crowd that was in there, I'm not really with the drama and going back and arguing over Facebook posts. I'd be like, dude, I don't have time for that, man. we have so much better stuff to be doing than associating with that bad influence.
Bad juju.
Yeah. Ford Boss Me and myself, we have a main goal of helping people. That's the key word, helping people. And I think a lot of people either don't want to accept the fact that we're helping, or don't want to accept the fact that they're wrong, and don't want to actually listen to correct advice, or be open to different ways of doing things, because frankly, if you're posting this stuff on Facebook, you obviously haven't solved your problem. And now you either need to look for guidance or other sorts of help. And, we have created a community that is growing nationwide. As funny as it may seem, it started locally in our communities, and now it is branched off to nationwide. People are driving all over the United States to see myself and him, and CP's Garage. It's a lot of hard work and balancing, customer satisfaction and getting these vehicles fixed right the first time, having to deal with back ordered parts, and then having to deal with all of the nonsense that's out there. A lot of you guys, a lot of our followers and people who come here every Wednesday and comment, we know who you are. We appreciate your positivity. I mean, look at the comments right now. It's awesome interacting with you guys, and that's how I met DS. That's how I met Lasagna Man.
That's how you met me.
That's how I met him. Ford
Right.
Boss Me. I mean, it's a great community amongst everybody here. Even the community members, Fred, Bob, over a channel moderator for Ford Boss Me. He's been in the comment section commenting on the live streams and on the videos. Yeah, it's great.
I think one of the big things is we want people to feel comfortable about doing the job right. We want people to feel comfortable about coming to us to talk to us and not being scared of us, that we're going to rob them and take their money, and that we're stealerships. And I hate that.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. People are terrible with a lot of their. My local Ford dealership, the service department is absolute garbage. So like, I think it's a problem with like the local dealerships. Kind of like a lot of them give a bad name when like there are quite a few of you guys out there. You know what I mean? Who are actually very skilled and know what you're doing. And that's kind of like a misconception that people have because of the bad apples, it seems.
I know you hear so many, just even like with Anthony and him, his malarkey that he's had at different dealerships. It's
Do you
a
remember
little,
the oil story I told you?
yeah.
So-
Jeez.
That was just, I mean, mind-boggling. Put the full synthetic in it. Did you do it? Yeah. Well, then why did he put a sticker that says it's the blend? Come on, guy.
Where did that guy drive to see you? That was it a Lincoln Town Car, or was it a Crown Vic that had
Okay,
all the
so
shocks and
listen.
struts in the back? Or the
Five
timing chain.
five or six of my last customers were all from the YouTube channel. That's the kind of money this can bring in, and the trust it
awesome.
can bring in, and the customer loyalty basis that this can start to build whenever they see technicians that actually care, that want to do the right thing. Now, I had a gentleman from an hour and 10 minutes away that is part of a machining union company. He's been watching us. He's been seeing us do our thing on Wednesday and stuff. He's probably here in the chat, lurking, just not wanting to be very vocal. And he said, I love what you guys do. I love the honesty. I love the truth behind everything. And you're not trying to hide anything. So I'm going to start bringing my fleet of Fords to you. So he brought his first one. He dropped it off. He was satisfied
awesome.
with the repairs. And then another subscriber on the channel said, I've seen everything that you guys are doing. He comes by, gets $1,000 worth of work done. Another guy's $2,000
That's
worth of work.
awesome.
Do you
happy.
think this can change
huge.
the whole dynamic? Like, that almost makes it seem like other dealerships should have some kind of video production in even in just the service department.
I think it can change. I definitely think
Just
it can change
to
the way
build the
people
trust.
the way people look at us. The problem is exactly what Fred just said in the comment section. Fred knows the business inside and out, just like me. I do. A-Rod does. DS, you've been around for a while. Cody's been around for a while. The thorn in people's side when it comes to dealerships is the sales department. If they don't feel like they're satisfied with how well the education is behind the product that they're buying, people explaining it to them, and the experience from start to finish, it has to be there. It has to be on par. If not, that customer is not going to come back to you, and they're going to have nothing but bad to say. And the front line of the service department area, the service riders, if they don't know their job, if they haven't been in the field as previous techs, if they're not out there trying to push good, honest sale to the customer of what they need, the customers, they're livid, and it destroys the whole relationship. The technicians are great. Most of the technicians, there are hacks in this field, but most of us, the majority of us, want to make people happy. We want to make a good, honest living, and the problem is the front end of the business is what ruins it for most of us.
True that.
Yeah, almost wish,
Very, very eloquently put.
almost wish like the way a video could be done, or how much work it goes into a video. If something like, if every repair, how they have it in the manual, if they had a video version of it, like, hey, your car needs this, here's the video.
You know what we need to do is Ford, Boss Me, and myself. We need to open up our own freaking Ford repair shop.
I was
That'd
just
be
gonna
awesome.
say that to you, dude. I was gonna say, why haven't you opened up your own?
And we need
shop?
Reelan, and we need CP. We need some back behind the scenes guys.
I can be your tech guy.
DS is going to be the frailing arms guy on the boulevard. Hey, come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. I'm not going to be asleep now.
Do you know how badass of a business that would be? Do you know how much we would put in a hurting on people locally, though? That would be a huge issue for local garages. That would be huge.
That would be an empire. I'll tell you that right now. It'd be a master Ford garage. That's it right there. Master Ford garage, handling everything Ford related. And frankly, I think if we were away from the politics, it would be nothing but customer service. Customer service would be, the forefront. There would be no advisors. It would be, you're talking like Fred was mentioning right there. I used to hate when my advisors would come back to me and say, hey, I sold this job for 6 hours, but I had only asked for 4. To me, that's like that. That can't happen. That's not gonna happen. That's not why we have people drive across states to have us work on their vehicle.
What it takes to
I
fix
drove
your car.
across many states. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to interrupt.
What it takes to fix your car, if it's a standard labor time and it's a fair labor time, is what should be charged. If we know that, it's going to take 4 hours, and we tell the advisors, look, it's going to take me 4 hours, and they feel like they're proud of themselves for selling the job for 6. I don't like people like that. I despise people like that. You're not helping me, and you're not helping the business. All you're doing is helping your pocket, and you've just lost my respect when it comes to that. And then I typically don't want to work with you after that.
Oh, but it's our numbers. Oh.
I don't. It's about customer loyalty based. That's how the numbers stay there. If they learn that and they focus on that, then things would be a lot different. It's not trying to gouge the pocket of customers just because.
That's why I stayed with this now pretty much solidified, fired mechanic, like, that trust was there, and they broke that trust. And, it took all of just, me driving across a few states 14 hours, or I guess in the case of going home 12 hours because I had it pegged just wanting to get home, to see this guy, and just like, that's it now. I just don't want to really deal with anybody else because you can, what you can get, kind of thing.
Damn, Leo, Fred just said, I always said if I won the lottery, I'd buy a Ford dealer and get the best team possible. That's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome.
I'd come back into the game for that.
Shoot.
Fred would be a good owner too. He's level-headed, and even when he gets a little anxious or a little ornery on things, he's still not a bad person to deal with. So that would be a good.
Somebody who's gonna get the job done.
Amen to that. I really think you should do it, man. But I was thinking about that all day. I was like, you know what? Why doesn't this dude have his own shop? And like, but I get it though. You got a lot of resources there, and you got, that's got to be hard to give up and starting fresh. It's
the special tools alone is insane.
Oh,
let me give you some incentive.
The software.
Let me give you some incentive for somebody that already has their own place. I'm subleasing part of a shop that's actively, currently functioning every single day as a shop, and I use that part of the shop for my own personal stuff, or if I need to get a friend's vehicle in on a weekend or something like that. And I know the guys, they watch the channel, they're part of the channel. They reach out to me and they said, hey, would you like to lease half this shop? Because
that's awesome.
Like that it could be a benefit to your channel and anything that you need. So I said, let's roll with it. It'll be a good backup plan. I could make anytime this dealership stuff or anything fell through, it's a good investment for me to have because I could always be making money. Now, there's a lot of times where I think, I'd like to walk away from this. I like to stop dealing with these 21, 22, 20 Explorers and F-250s and F-150s and just go work on stuff that's 10 years old plus and just nail it and make a good, honest living without having to deal with anything new. But then I think about the education behind it. And I think about all the schools I can go to. I think about all the new technology I'd miss out on and how many people I wouldn't be able to help because I don't know anything about the new stuff. And that's what holds me back is the fact that I stopped gaining knowledge at that point.
Right, you lose something. Yep, you do lose something.
And I can't give that to the audience that we see every Wednesday, that we see every single day. I feel like I'd lose a part of me of being here with A-Rod every Wednesday and, calling him up daily to pick his brain on something or whatever. So it wouldn't be there. And I'm trying to hold on to that as much as I can, but there are many more days lately where I think about walking away.
Tough, sure.
It's umbilical cord that would be hard to cut. But
I mean, that's very true. The resources, and you said something about these newer Explorers. Does anybody kind of have just like a totally off-topic question regarding the Explorer? Does anybody actually believe that the Explorer is an Explorer anymore? Like, look at like the 90s Explorer, nice boxy, the Eddie Bauer editions. And then now it's this like amorphic blob that they call the Explorer. It's like a station wagon more likely.
I think Explorer, I think Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like the 90s.
I think that Explorer.
I had a 1990, I can't remember. I had one of those body style Explorers, the Eddie Bauer. It was like a tan color with a leather interior. Man.
Oh, yeah.
What a beast. I love that thing.
I learned to drive in a 97 Explorer Sport 5-speed.
Firestone recall.
They made those in a manual?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
They were super rare, but they were
they existed.
manual.
I was able to drive a stick sport track, too.
Oh, that is rare.
Stick sport track.
All I've ever driven is in stick, like a stick Ford is like a F-250, I think, with a 7.3 in it.
How about a 6.4?
And a Focus. I have a Focus too. We have a Focus that's a 5-speed. It's a 14 Focus. And 6.4s, I would throw in the garbage. I'm sorry to anybody who has a 6.4. If your truck is great and it works for you, I'm ecstatic. But if I had to choose between a 6.7, a 6 liter, or a 6.4, I'd choose the 6.7 or the 6 liter any day.
This guy's cracking me up. If you guys check out the comment section, there's a good fella down here, Cowboy Car Crusher. You guys gotta check out his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of funny stuff. He actually just gave me a shout out. He just made a video. Click on his link and check his channel out. He was actually crushing a Super Duty for me. He folded it in half, the back ears of the frame, and threw that puppy right in the car crusher and flattened that pig. It was pretty funny. To be there in person would obviously be better, but he's always crushing stuff, cars, trucks. You name it.
He's got my subscription though.
He's got the little the back. Ain't no car.
Has anybody ever?
Has
anybody ever watched Zip Ties and Bias Plies?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's actually a good friend of mine. That guy is the fucking man.
No way.
Excuse my language. Yeah. He goes by Peg. Because he has, if you didn't notice, he has one leg that's a prosthetic.
I did not know.
Yes. I should WhatsApp him and tell him to send us a message. He just cursed though, so it might not be YouTube appropriate. Yeah, he's a good dude. Uncle Peg. Yeah, I'm actually creating I'm gonna try and create a little he's been having some trouble with like Patreon and stuff like that, so I'm going to try and create him a little custom web portal for his supporters, hopefully, maybe one day soon.
Him, Rain Man.
Rain Man is good. I like Rain Man.
I really feel
bad about it. Powerstroke specialty. Hey.
I've reached out to that guy a bunch of times, and he's just too busy. He's just too busy.
I think it's the opposite. I think he's doing Jack, you know what, and Scallon Mike here. What happened?
Hey guys, I literally just found y'all's channel because I was trying to figure out what to do. I'm at a gas station right now and just put 10 gallons of gasoline in my 2020.
Don't turn the key. Don't turn the key.
Don't turn the key.
Did you turn
Unplug
the key?
the pump.
Where is this in the comments? Oh yeah, okay. Isaiah Sheffield. Yeah, dude.
Don't turn the key on.
If you don't turn your key, you're gonna be okay, pal.
Yeah. You're yeah, that's not gonna be
Definitely,
good.
No, Isaiah, not talking about starting it. Did you turn the key at all since you put gasoline in your tank? Do not if you haven't.
Okay. Wait a second. Dude said I did not turn the ignition on yet. All right, you're gonna have to get that out of there, or you're gonna have to. A-Rod, is there on these? Is there a quick release, or is there a? Fuck. At this point, what would he even do in a situation like this?
So he's gonna have to have a tow truck driver. He's gonna have to hit the e-brake.
Wait, did he say 10 gallons? 10 gallons?
10 gallons.
The key was in his pocket the whole time. He's
It's
gonna have to
hit
hit
the
the e-brake. He's gonna have to hit the e-brake. He's gonna have to pop that linkage. He's gonna have to get it towed somewhere.
10 gallons is not that much.
They're gonna have to watch my video. No, they're gonna have to watch my video that I made showing you guys how to. I mean, I guess this guy could even do it himself.
He can
Disconnect
the fuel pump driver module and
drain. Hey, everybody, we need just let Cody and A-Rod needs to talk
A-Rod
right now.
is right because his video tells you what to pull.
I understand that. Hey, I understand that right now. While the dude's in this situation, let Cody and A-Rod talk about what he needs to do, because if you open the door, it's going to prime. There's a lot of things that will set that off.
He's going to have to disconnect the fuel pump driver module first. That's going to be the easiest thing to do.
Tell him how to do it.
A-Rod's video, I don't remember where it's at. I haven't seen.
If you look over on, If you look above your DPF, there is some frame,
I'll be right back. Good
some
luck.
frame pieces of metal that go from one side to the other. Above one of those frame extensions or connectors, you'll see a black box that's on top of it between the body and the frame. You're going to need to unplug that. And then you're free to turn the key on. The fuel pump's not going to come on. The fuel pump is disconnected. It's not going to do
Cody, can you
jack
get that
diddly.
video of A-Rod's?
Yeah, I can get that.
Because he's
I'll
asking
turn-
for it right now. Because I think he really wants to do the right thing right now. Because he realizes he screwed up.
Yeah, I'll get it right now.
Let me
I-
turn
I-
screen sharing on for you.
I appreciate you coming forward and saying something about that, Isaiah, and at least owning up to making a mistake and wanting to do the right thing.
Yeah, we're not putting you under the bus here. It's definitely something that can be a cheap fix, but you just have to do some things in a certain order.
Yeah, you save yourself.
Can I screen share it now?
Yep, you're good to go. All right, everybody. So I have just gave Cody screen sharing. He's going to pull up my channel and has a video that I made a couple of months ago. This isn't a Luma duty. This is right up this guy's alley. It's fairly simple. Isaiah, why don't you go grab? I mean, if you're going to be in the situation to, you're going to need a couple of pieces of wire to make 2 U's. So maybe like 4-inch section of wire. You're going to strip both ends, and you're going to need a way to collect fuel because this fuel can't be going on the ground. So you're going to need to find a bucket or something big enough to hold 10 gallons of fuel.
That's what the plug looks like.
See if that gas station's got 2 of these, 5 gallons each.
There you go. Gonna have to buy
See
some
if
gas
they-
cans.
See if they can. sell
Here's
that.
the link. It's in the chat. But that's the plug.
Oh, there's the link right there.
That's the plug. This is the approximate area of the box. It's a little difficult, but this is the safest way to go, is just disconnect this box. Then you can do whatever you want. You can disconnect the fuel filter so you can dump it, or disconnect the lines underneath so you can dump it into some kind of container. Oops, is it sharing now? I'm
Yep.
a liar. So there's the box. I thought I was sharing already, sorry. So there's the box.
Right where my hand is the back part of the cab.
Trying to see if
So here's where the DPF is. I'm trying to reference like how far back it is. It's like right above the back portion of the DPF. You're gonna see that piece right there. It's got one button on it. Not a big deal at all. Kind of where I'm going with my hand, right around the body mount. Just to press in the button and boom, come right off. Now
This is a
those,
beautiful moment. People
does that one have a lock on it?
no, it does not.
No.
People helping people.
Yep, and this is all I did right here.
Don't do this until you disconnect the fuel
Yeah.
lines.
Wait till you disconnect the fuel line off the engine.
Or in front of the fuel tank so you can dump it out.
He said he missed the last few seconds because he clicked the link and it took him away. I'm not sure how much he missed.
We already covered. Well, I think he's just looking at like the snippets right now. So when he leaves here, he can go to the video and know exactly what he's
Gotcha,
looking
gotcha.
for.
Sure. No, I wasn't sure if you guys were looking at the comments.
It might be the best. It might be the best scenario not to do this on site, to maybe get it towed home and do this at home.
You're gonna have to unplug this connector first.
I think
Yeah.
DS Trucks is right.
This is important right here. We need to disconnect the fuel line off the engine. This is something I've mocked up. I have off of an old fuel pump, but is the same size as the supply line.
All right, he
Going-
says, I have a chassis cab. Will mine be the same? It should be the same.
I
Same
can
thing.
pull. Hold on, I can pull that up too. That should only
Unshare
take
right
a
now.
couple minutes.
So before anything,
Share.
before we keep talking or sharing anything else about this, Isaiah, the whole point behind this here is they want you to unplug the fuel pump driver module before you do anything from this point on. Get it unplugged before you move forward. That's the main thing. The second thing is you're going to have to figure out, are you going to have it towed somewhere? Are you going to try to do it right where you're doing it? Or are you going to take it home? What are you going to do?
Yep. Got some decisions to make right now. You're going to be making a mess.
Very
Are you-
concise.
Yep.
Now I see why they call him Ford Boss.
It's probably best to take the thing home and then really look over the information. Obviously, once you
Well,
unplug
if
the
he feels
fuel
comfortable with
module.
that, if he doesn't feel like his level of comfort is fine with a truck that's still under warranty and it's brand new, then maybe the best thing is to tow it to the dealership. And then if he's got a wife or a friend or somebody else that can get him home.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good course of action, because then if he has to get it towed, he just get it towed to. If it's under warranty, I think that makes perfect sense.
The tow
Well,
isn't too big a
The
deal.
repair is not going to be under warranty.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
Right.
it's,
To the
Dealer
take it
connection's
to
not working for me.
I mean, it wouldn't, if you followed A-Rod's instructions exactly like he has in the video, you would be fine doing it at home if you felt like you were mechanically savvy to at least do just basic stuff like he's showing you, which there's nothing difficult about it. Now, here's where the thing can get a little gray. And this is what I mean by being a dealer tech at the level that we are. You don't know. I don't know if you have a dealer you trust. Don't take it to a dealer that you don't know. And the reason I say that is, who knows what comes of this after you take it to the dealer and they find you got gasoline in the system and they plug something in and they open a door or whatever, and then it becomes your fault. I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but there's always a possibility that some Yahoo somewhere doesn't know what I know, or Cody does, or DS does, or any of us here, A-Rod does, and they do something they're not supposed to. So
Okay. He actually, being that's a cab chassis, I have this pulled up for him.
Yeah, mine's not working. So
Yeah, Isaiah, if you're continuing to watch, if you look at this right here, your fuel pump driver module connector, okay, this right here is the front of the vehicle. You see this indicator? Your fuel pump driver control module is going to be right here, brother.
looks like you're right in front of the aft tank.
Yeah,
Right
he
here.
said he has a friend coming with a truck, and then they're going to go get his trailer with a winch.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you should probably keep that up a little longer.
Oh,
Yeah, you're gonna want to be somewhere where there's not as much pressure. If you're at a fueling station, it could be kind of intense.
Yeah.
Set of fuel
the
filters.
pumps.
additive, some fresh
make
fuel.
make sure before you get in that truck that, Isaiah, is the connector unplugged already? That's what we need to know first. Do you
Yeah.
have the connector unplugged?
Yep.
Before you do anything else, before the next comment comes across
Anything.
the screen, we want to know that the connector's unplugged so you're safe. So when you get in the vehicle and you try to move this thing, it's not actuating a pump.
Yep.
Jeopardy music.
This is what it's about right here. Fixing. We don't even know where this guy's at. Where are you at,
Still
Isaiah?
trying- he said he's still trying to find it.
Okay. All right.
Under
all
the
right.
truck. No. Okay.
Cool.
I like the relay of information to us. We're fixing a truck. If you guys are joining us right now,
Fixing
we
a
have
truck live.
Yeah, we're fixing a truck live.
It doesn't get any better than that.
We got our boy Isaiah underneath his truck. We just had some gasoline dispensed into a diesel fuel tank, so we're walking them through where to find the fuel pump driver module connector. My buddy's coming is much more auto savvy than me. So he can disable his fuel pump electrically, because what happens is a lot of these new cars, Ford Boss Me had mentioned already, some of these cars, when you open the door, the fuel pump comes on. Not saying that Super Duties do this, but you have to be cognitive in thinking this. When some of these GTDIs, they're already priming the low pressure fuel system all the way charging to the engine. So as soon as you hit that key, or that intelligent access recognizes that you're in the vicinity, boom, you
He
hear
wants
that
to know
fuel
if you
pump
can
come
put
on.
that picture up again, Rod.
Oh yes,
He's
most
looking.
definitely. I'm sorry I didn't see it. My fault, buddy.
Something you guys may not know is these vehicles don't ultimately completely shut off. When you take the key off and you go in the house, there's still things going on with some of them as you sleep overnight. They don't just quit actuating. The ABS module in some of these newer vehicles will run a self-check periodically throughout the night. Like you can shut off an Explorer and then walk away, go inside the building and do whatever you got to do an hour, 2 hours later, and then come back out and walk over to the vehicle, and you can hear the ABS pump cycling.
Here you go,
That
Isaiah.
like whining kind of noise. Like I'll come out to it. I won't touch my key or even open the door, and you'll just hear that like almost like an old modem noise, kind of, and it'll just like stop, and then you'll just hear it again like 20 minutes later.
It could be described.
Yeah, it's like a yeah.
I want to say I remember this definitely. If Isaiah, think this right here, this is where your fuel tank's going to be. So if you were to be looking, your axle is going to be like right here. If you look at the steel piece that's going from one side of the frame to the other, it looks like that connector should be either in the middle or just off maybe to the driver's side.
Or up on top. It could be mounted right there somewhere. It's on that cross member though, and sometimes you can't.
That's what I was looking for.
You got this, Isaiah.
That's actually. I want to let you guys know what we're looking at right now. This was never like this. The team over at World Headquarters or down in Dearborn, the team that makes this happen for us. Look at all these colored harnesses, pinouts. There are a lot of stuff in the workshop manual that we never had, and now that we do have it, clicking on hyperlinks, seeing actual pictures, it really makes following the material a little easier. So if anybody from Ford's watching us or listening, tell whoever does this stuff that we appreciate where you guys have come from, because being in the early 2000s and having a look at the EVTM with non-color coded, no hyperlinks, you guys got it going on. Can y'all throw that picture up again? We got it. I think I found it, he says. Okay.
You know, in who was it up here said that just by walking, CA growing. I don't know if it's short for California growing or something like that. Whatever. I don't want to say your name wrong or whatever. CA growing. I feel like my phone in my pocket. In my pocket, the car always tried to sync up or something. Just so you guys know, there's not very much you can do on a new vehicle that Ford doesn't know. Anything that you do, anything that goes through codes that are set, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. There's a way for it pretty much all to be tracked now. I was on the phone with Hotline today. I was looking at an issue with an airbag. And I had said, look, I did a program, airbag light popped on, and there was no airbag light that came on before the vehicle came in the shop. I'd physically seen the vehicle myself. I drove it in. There was no airbag light there. And they responded back to me with, no, we can actually see what's going on by what has been data logged through the vehicle. There was a code set in November. And I was like, wait a second. are they really able to see such a sensitive thing like this on just like one event or a couple events or whatever it was? So I actually went back to the health report and seen it was actually a stored element, a stored code that was actually there in early October before they seen it. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy
Connected
how
vehicle data.
they can see any
Wow.
of this active stuff that's going on, but the light was never there. Somehow it popped up after I did the 360 camera program, and all of a sudden there was a light there to indicate something was wrong. Now I did find the problem because it was a poorly routed wiring harness from the factory where they actually stretched the airbag wire too far over other wires instead of dropping it where it was supposed to go, and it was stressing the connector on the airbag too much, and it was causing the shorting bar to act up. But the fact that they were able to see that without me even knowing amazed me. And then the data history that vehicle stores and how the TCU and the Ford Pass app and everything else, everything can be seen.
Was that code set in pending?
No, it was active.
It was active? Wow.
Yeah, but I didn't see a light. Well, you know what? You might be right because it may have been orange or whatever it was. I think red or orange is pending and red is active, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it was set as orange, orange, orange. And then I did the program and then all of a sudden it was red. And it was there. And then when I searched through the harness, I'd seen how stressed the wire and stuff was and how it made light scores through the sheathing to where it was actually causing some issues. I was like, man, this is not good. I wonder how many other vehicles maybe, I mean, are there airbags installed by humans and they just have to, I mean, I don't know how they're installed from the factory.
Yeah, in the factory, they're all installed by humans, and all those pretensioners, those little plugs, they're all plugged in. And it's like you get a couple seconds. It's like you're probably doing 20 things. And when you plug in that airbag, you get 1 second.
Yeah.
And you're doing
so maybe it was
50
just a
other
one.
things.
Maybe it was just a one.
Sometimes there's not enough wire and it's tight. You know,
So the way the harness is routed, you have the main part that comes across the bottom of the dash, and then there's all the legs that come off of it. The airbag connector's over here on the side, and there's a perfect spot for that connector to drop right down in there, real nice and easy with a lot of leeway. But it looked like maybe that makes more sense what you said. Somebody was rushing and they ran the wire up over 2 other looms and drug it all the way back and pulled too tight on it.
What airbag was it?
It was the knee bolster airbag.
The knee bolster airbag? Oh, wow.
Yeah, really tight spot. And, you can't see a lot of what's going on. So probably some of it, you're kind of blind if you can't, and stuff's in your way. I mean,
sometimes it's like, there's
we're
probably
going to do another screen share here. I want Isaiah to see, I have the parts catalog pulled up, Isaiah. I can't zoom in anymore. This is actually the black box right here. This is what you're looking for.
Is there a picture of it?
No, it doesn't have the little icon.
He says he's got it off.
Oh, does he? Okay, cool.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Isaiah. Now you should be fine now. Now follow A-Rod's video.
You'll be all set to go, man.
To get that fuel out of there and then get some fresh diesel in there.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you feel like it, even if you feel like you want to be an extra anal about the whole entire situation, go ahead and put some diesel in there, maybe clear out the line and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you do that, and then plug everything back in the way it is, get some good fuel and stuff in there and run it, clear it out.
You'll be good. There's going to be minimal gasoline in there. I would get 10 gallons of fresh diesel. I'd get you some additive, change your fuel filters, and send it, man. You're going to be good to go.
Yeah.
We wouldn't steer you wrong.
But make sure you get those filters off of there, though. Get the filters off of there and get some fresh filters in there after you get that gas out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I think this might be a good point to cut it off. It's going to be video game playing time. If anybody wants to play video games,
What are you playing?
We're playing PlayStation 4. We're playing Call of Duty. If anybody wants to get down, let me know. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I got them. I got an external hard drive, and I downloaded everything that I had to delete off my PS4 because I had no more room. So I got all my Call of Duties. I got all my Rocket Leagues. I got.
Hey, he just asked you a question.
Oh, did he?
If I didn't have my truck up, you could see I have a PS5, so I think I can play Call of Duty with you.
Looks like what I got. So from
Yes, from where you're
I'm
at, just follow the video.
Yep.
You unplug
Yes,
the
sir.
connector. So now now what you need to do when you have time tomorrow is go get a set of fuel filters. Get the
Yep.
the lower one and the upper one. Get some
You know what?
wire
Yep.
Get the wire that A-Rod shows in the video. You're going to need to do that. And then make sure you grab, does he need that fuel line that you pointed out? It makes it a little cleaner.
I was just going to say, take the upper filter off first and cut the port off. There's a yellow line, the supply line that goes on the filter. Once you get the filter off, cut that port off the fuel filter and use that port and stick it in a rubber hose. So you can stick that port in the line and then you can use a hose down to wherever you're
a bucket or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do that, there's a video. He's got I think A-Rod has a video for removing and changing all the fuel filters. Right?
Yeah.
There should be.
I don't remember what size the line was. It was
again, listen to what he just said. He said cut the yellow line, the nipple off the filter, not the line on the truck, but on the filter.
Off the filter. You want to use that nipple on the filter as your setup. So
and you'll flip it in and then you'll run a line over it, but you got to get the line, try to get a line that fits that nipple. So what I would do is when you get home, pull the filter off of it, cut the nipple off, take the nipple to the parts store with you to match up the right line and get your filters and stuff while you're out. The dealership will have them. So get the filters, get the nipple off the fuel filter, go get yourself a line and get some wires so you can jump those 2 pins on each side of the connector and get that fuel out of there. Make sure you got at least 10 gallons of fuel so you can really get it in there, run some of that fresh fuel through before you put a new set of filters and stuff in there. I'd get all that cleared out first and then put the filters in there.
You're going to need Motorcraft part number FD4641. That's the part number you're going to need for your truck. So
is open tomorrow. You might have a hard time getting into a dealership tomorrow. Actually, I forgot about that. You may have to go to a parts store that's open.
AutoZone has a lot of 24-hour ones, and they have some Motorcraft stuff. You might want to check out an AutoZone.
The only thing I found that they don't have is the 5W40. Other than that, they have a ton of Motorcraft stuff. You're absolutely
I think the reason they don't carry a lot of the 5W40 stuff is because a lot of guys don't consider themselves into the severe duty category when it comes to working the 6.7 because it's already considered super duty, severe duty anyway. But a lot of them should realize.
I'm just that guy that just runs it anyway. Sometimes I do in Maine with the cold weather. It's good to have. Plus, I tow pretty hard occasionally. So
I would run the 540.
Word.
Exclusively. That was my bad dealership story. I went there to get a freaking oil change. Said, give me this full synthetic. Said they put it in, and then the sticker, the guy wrote 10W30. I was like, you guys lied to me. Never coming back. But anyway, I really hope I'm rooting for this Isaiah fella. I think he's got it from here. You guys are awesome for helping him out. That was just like a
right place at the right time.
Right? Exactly. This is true.
Frickin' A. I wish all you guys a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for watching. Tony, appreciate you making the trek all the way from Maine to come and see me. It was good meeting you. Ford Boss Me, CP's. I can't tell if Sleepy DS is sleeping or what. He ain't moved, nothing.
He looks comfy.
He looks comfy. He's got that heat passing on.
Oh, what?
Huh? What?
He heard Sleepy. That's how he's responding.
I appreciate you all. Thank you so much.
All right, later.
Thank you, man.
All right, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.